Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel. In this episode, we will be reviewing the Coleman fixed blade knife. Stay tuned. Inside the packaging, we get the knife. Has one of those little jab yourself in the hand protectors on the end. There's the knife. Let's go ahead and put that aside for a minute. And we also get a sheath, and you get a piece of paper, or piece of cardboard with some information on it. It states that it is 4.5 inch stainless steel blade, has a contoured handle, has a grooved thumb grip. I think what they're talking about is this jimping on the top, which is really grippy. It's almost like skin ripping off your thumb grippy. Pretty good. And it also states that it comes with a storage sheath with a snap closure and belt loop. So here's your belt loop, and here's your little snappy, which I like. They didn't put Velcro on it. I despise Velcro. The only other thing to note here is that it is made in China. That is no secret because you get this for the jaw-dropping low price of about $10 at Walmart. And I've seen it even online at Amazon almost as low as $7. And I've also seen it as high as $15. But $10 is about the average you could get this knife. So let's go over the specs really quick. What you see here is a 4.5 inch blade. You have some jimping. This is sort of like a drop point, but it's sort of modified really. Has a nice little belly right there. You have a hollow grind blade about halfway. You have a false edge or swedge right there. You have some nice jimping. You have rosewood handles on a full tang blade. And you get a lanyard hole. And the scales here, or the handle, is held on by some, what appears to be hex screws. They don't look like Allen, they look like hex to me. I'll let you take a close look. Now, I am using my webcam, so it does take a little while to focus. Maybe. There we go. You don't have to look at my thumb, I'm sorry. But there we go. It's actually a nice looking knife. It does say China on it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the sheath really quick. You know, it is nylon, but it feels like the cheapest nylon you could possibly find. It's not very durable. I don't think it would hold up very long. As a matter of fact, I know it won't because before I do these videos, I look at other people's reviews and I look at other people's videos. And this doesn't hold up very long, unlike the knife, which actually is surprisingly good according to reviews. Let's see how well it fits in there. And it does pretty good. Let's see if it is secure. A little bit floppy in there. Now, one specification I did not state, and which cannot be found on the internet, is the type of steel. It's probably a very cheap Chinese steel. It's a little softer. But, according to reviews, it's very durable, so don't know what it is. It's mystery steel. Another thing you cannot find is the weight of this. It is a very light 4.2 ounces on my postal scale. Let's go ahead and grab a piece of paper and see how sharp it is out of the box. It's not sharp enough to cut paper. Oh, I gotta eat my words. It must have been some operator. I mean, it's not super sharp. You can see it did a little bit of tearing right there. But it's satisfactory for a $10 knife. I mean, another good way to tell if a knife is sharp is just sit it on your nail and pull it to the side. If it really sort of grabs your nail, it's there. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's about a 5 for sharpness. It's sharp enough to do what you need to do out of the box, but it's not razor sharp. One other thing I like to do really quick is a check to see how strong the points are in here. So I usually grab a piece of wood, and people usually freak out when I do this. But rest assured, I'm not gonna kill myself here. But I jab it in there. It's in there a millimeter or two, and then I sort of go sideways. And if this is a cheap blade, this wood is not very thick or very hard, by the way. It's cheap pine. which is soft. But this should not be enough to break the edge off or the tip off the blade. So let's take a look. It looks like we still have our tip right there, and I'll show you really quick. You can see the tip. And the tip remained intact. Now, I'm going to make a mess if I do this. I'll tell you what, let's, it's almost 60 degrees outside. Let's take a quick run outside and hack on something and see how well this holds up. We're in the wild outdoors in my backyard. Found a stick, got the knife. I'm going to go ahead and pan down just a little bit, and we'll just see if we can hurt this just a little bit. Let's see where we can hack this really good, keep it in view. Maybe, there we go. We'll go ahead and take this branch off right here. Okay, well, the wood is not extremely hard, but oh well. Let's I can tell you right now, it does. It is hurting my finger a little bit because you can see that full tang handle right there comes out from behind the scales. The scales don't fully cover the full tang blade there, the metal, and that sort of hurts your inside your index finger there. It's really tearing up my finger right there. This jimping here might be good for stabbing and doing some cutting of softer material, but if you're really chopping hard, and the way that I'm holding it like this, that's not a good way to hold it, unfortunately. So I'm changing my grip the way I should have been holding it. And it's putting a good notch in there. Of course, you're not going to be chopping trees down with this thing. But no matter how I hold this, if I do a serious chopping like this, it hurts my head. So I'm going to stop. But the blade's not breaking. Let's do a little bit of twisting and digging in here. Make sure the tip still holds up. Alright, so I'd say it held up very, very well. One thing I would worry about though is this is bee blasted, which is a cheap way of getting a finish really quick on a blade. But because this is very, very cheap Chinese steel, this is an assumption, but for $10 it's pretty much a gimme. But also bee blasted, it's probably very, very susceptible to rusting. Amazingly, it still feels like it has a decent edge on it. Now I did bring out my little sharpener by Smith's, and I'm going to go ahead and touch this up just to see if I could get this to cut paper a little bit better than it did out of the bubble wrap or the clamshell or box. Comes in this clamshell pack, so I don't think I've seen it come in anything else. The way to use these, by the way, and I've done a review on these Smith sharpeners, is you start out, pressing a little bit, working the really bad crap off, and as you go, you lighten up the pressure And then you move over to the ceramic stones there. Again, start with a little bit of pressure, and then try to, you know, ease up till you're barely just letting the weight of the blade rest on it. And yeah. Oh, and I got a piece of paper here. Let's see if it does any better. Okay, so it's actually about as sharp, or just a slightly bit sharper than it came out of the packaging with. So it's a tough, softer steel, which is very easy to sharpen in the field, which is really what you want with a camping kind of knife, which is what this is. It's just a good camping knife, cheap. So if you have a kid that's in the Boy Scouts and they need to carry a knife, this is a good cheap option. It'll hold up pretty good, especially for a $10 knife. Do I recommend it? Yes. For the price, taking that price into consideration, I give this a 9 out of 10. That's right, a 9 out of 10 for this cheap knife, because you got to take the cost of it into account. So, thank you very much for joining me here at the Gear Obsession channel. I really appreciate every friend, viewer, subscriber, and you. And I hope you have a great evening, and I will see you again on Friday. Take care. Bye.